no, the police are after me. So here's the thing, here's the gist, here's the jickle. In the past couple of years, it's become very trendy and very smiled upon, particularly for people around my age, like in their 20s or their 30s, to care way too much about money to a point that's just a little bit unnatural, care too much about the essentials, and always act as if you're fucked if you're not on top of that shit. And just overall, they just miss out on life so much and just get pissed off, and also take a bunch of financial advice that's usually that I don't even agree with, out of just their own delusion of safety. But here's the thing, I was listening to somebody say that they believe that it will become a fashion trend for people to dress in ways that are more based on dressing of utility based, like dressing in things that just suit your needs instead of dressing in colors or dressing the way you would actually want to. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense if that's true, because people frown upon fucking having fun and not caring about money when that's the fucking goal all the time for happiness, is to not care about money. And if you listen to some of these people like Dave Ramsey or something, he's always calling these young like millennials, making them feel so proud and amped up of the fact that they're paying off interest rates of banks that don't give a fuck about getting their money back. He's always trying to make people feel guilty. If they do anything the opposite, it'll just spiral down without really looking at the other scenarios. But that's not even my main point. My main point is, first of all, some people, you could tell, are just like deliberately, like almost bragging about the fact that their lives are crap. And it makes me think that some of it is voluntary. Like, I was once for like a few days, worked with this bitch at a grocery store who was like practically bragging about how she said she wanted to be a dentist, but she was bagging groceries and was paying off her student loan debt. And I'm like, she's just like, oh, I'm just doing what I can. And oh my God, she was so obnoxious. And it's just like people like that I can just tell are, at least to some degree, deliberately trying to make their lives miserable because they think it makes them look responsible. And I think people generally make points like, oh, you just bought that because you wanted to follow a trend, or you just bought that irresponsibly because you're just trying to have fun or care about your social status. I think you should spend money on things for your social status. You should spend money out of arrogance. You should spend money out of trendiness or something. Nobody is saying that that's a completely rational decision, and nobody is saying that you should always do that. But what I am saying is people are almost just denying their natural feelings that obviously you want to. Okay? Like, obviously sometimes you want to buy a fucking hat or whatever. And people just act as if there's something different about that now. That's another thing. I feel like the idea of us being in troubled times right now is mostly a lie. That's what I've come to believe. I don't think it's that different than anything else. I think people are just perhaps just not as good at having sight of individual wealth building. Like, wealth building strategies for life skills are an ongoing thing. It's not just like, oh, this year we have to focus more on this, we have to buy a bunch of silver and pay people's affiliate links so we can waste their money and slowly get poorer. Well, I swear to God, some of these people like the economic ninja, just like for fucking years, saying there's gonna be a food shortage, that's just the worst. Like, you realize what he's doing, especially if you watch him for like, if you've like followed him for like a year or something. I mean, I remember I never got a good feeling from the guy, but eventually I sort of realized that, like, yeah, this guy's a complete phony and he's just making people fear. And that's the thing, you know, you care so much about money, then you start, like, you know, being one of those silver hoarders saying it's got 70x or whatever. And then you, ironically, end up spending as much money anyway as you would have on the trendy stuff. Like, particularly when I talk to people who are like age 40 or older, it's like they're the ones who seem to understand that, like, that know people that even if, I feel like a lot of young people, if you're like, I'm young, I don't have enough wealth. Well, yeah, but there's a lot of people like in their 40s or older who also are poor, but just don't have the kind of bad vibe that I would have expected of that. Like, they have their own thing going. And they don't take things like banks so seriously. They don't take things like the law so seriously, because some of them have had experiences with that stuff already. And they realize that people are a fucking joke. But, like, my point is, like, people do subscribe to a certain social status of responsibility in really stupid ways a lot of the time, without exploring the actual avenues of that stuff, whether it be dealing with taxes or debt or, anything. So yeah, I've just awakened you from the Matrix now. Enjoy being rich for the rest of your life.